Hey, Alan here for Untitled Outfitters. And today we are taking a look at the actually used to be Bushmaster, now it's Windham weaponry rifle. This is a basic AR-15. Windham weaponry is located up in Windham, Maine, where Bushmaster used to be. So the time was we would have said this Bushmaster. But when Remington bought Bushmaster, and of course you can talk about that all day long, the folks up at Windham, Maine restarted the plant up there and started making AR-15s. And they make good ones. This is a good rifle. They put good quality components in them, and they know what they're doing. And these are essentially mil-spec guns. So the standard military specifications for weapons of this type is how they build these things to. Bushmaster, when they were their own entity, built weapons and built components and things for the government. So this one looks like an original M16 AR-15 type rifle, right? And while we're on that subject, AR, we call these things AR-15s. Why is it AR? Sometimes people think that stands for automatic rifle. No, it doesn't. Army rifle. No. It stands for Armalite rifle. Armalite rifle, because the designer, Eugene Stoner, worked for Armalite when he came up with this design. They were looking to do a couple things when they designed these. They were looking to use what back in the day they called space age components. Polymer, plastics, heavy-duty stuff, okay? They were looking to use those. They were looking to make something that had few moving parts, low components, low numbers of components. They were looking for something that was kind of space age looking. And in the day, back then, this was pretty space age looking. Now, we got some other things today that are more space age looking than this, but back then, this was it. This was very, very, very modern in its appearance. This rifle looks like one of those originals. It doesn't share everything that those did. And you can go back through the history of the AR-15 platform. There's plenty of information out there on it, and we're not going to spend a lot of time going into that today because we could be here for a long time, and as you know, we don't like to be here for a long time. So this particular rifle, what does it have that the originals had? Well, fixed buttstock, triangular forend. The fixed buttstock, not adjustable length of pull. We got a sling swivel on the back. It's got the butt trap in the back, got a compartment back in here because it was designed you carried your cleaning kit back in here, okay? The triangular handguard, wide and flat on the bottom, and it tapers towards the front. It's got very large vent holes on top, and it's got an aluminum heat shield inside the bottom. And if you watch the video part where we're shooting it, you'll notice there's a lot of smoke and steam coming off of the top of it. Part of that's because it was kind of chilly here this morning when we did it, and part of it's probably oil burning off the barrel from the factory. But they recognized that these barrels were going to get hot, especially if you fired them fast. So they put a heat shield in the bottom of this. So triangular heat shield, or triangular foregrip with heat shield, big vents on top, some vents on the bottom, mostly on the top, fixed buttstock. The standard front sight tower and a fixed carry handle. Originally, nowadays we're used to these carry handles. You pull a couple knobs and off they come, and you put optics and things up there. Well, back then they didn't do that. This has a fixed carry handle, so nothing comes off of this. This is all integral part of the upper receiver. The rear sight was a dual aperture. It had windage adjustments in it, so you could move it left, right for windage correction. And like modern weapons of this type, this front sight is adjustable straight up and down for elevation correction. It has the standard pistol grip, looks just like those. Safeties over here on the side. The AR-15s are very ergonomic weapons, very easy weapons to use. Safeties over here, simple to position. On safe, off safe. On the other side of the gun, we have some of the components that the AR-15 or the M16A1 developed. The original guns did not have dust covers. They did not have forward assist. They didn't even have diverters, case diverters. Nowadays, we have all those things, and this rifle has those things. You've got the standard charging handle up here that you normally have. The bolt works the same way, but you've got the case diverter here, so if you're shooting from the left shoulder, it doesn't throw casings into your face. You've got the dust cover, and you've got the forward assist. forward assists are common on these guns today. This one has this teardrop shape, which was the way the older ones were designed. We got a front, got a 20-inch barrel, by the way, 20-inch barrel. We got a front sling swivel here. We got a bayonet lug. This barrel length is set up so you could, in fact, put a bayonet like the M7 or M9 bayonets will fit on this gun. This has a flash suppressor that is pretty much like, it's pretty much like the A1 flash suppressors. They had vents all the way around. Now, if you're familiar with these things, you know a lot of the modern guns don't. They vent on the sides and top, but the bottom is closed. And that was an innovation that was developed because if you're prone and you have dirt or loose dust under you, when it vents down, it tends to throw that stuff up. That does two things, interferes with your sight and also gives away your position. Remember, this is intended as a military weapon originally. Sportsmen jumped all over these things because they became popular early with varmint hunters, coyote hunters, because the cartridge, 5.56 by 45 or 223 Remington, was kind of originally developed as a varmint cartridge. So those are kind of the things that it shares with the original guns. Now, what's different? Well, the barrel's different. The original guns had a very thin barrel, and it was a 1 in 12-inch twist. It was designed to keep the bullet just stable in flight and encourage it to become immediately unstable when it hit a target, which increased its wound capability. This has a heavier barrel with a 1 in 7 twist. Now, that 1 in 7 twist is nice because that's going to enable you to use the full range of bullet weights of this caliber, okay? Common 55 grain all the way up to the heavy 75 and 77 grain bullets that are in use today for particularly long-range shooting when you're looking for accuracy or long-range lethality. These weapons were intended to be used at about 300 yards. The official manuals, I think, said 460 meters. They ended up being used farther than that, but they're probably at their best, especially this profile, was probably at its best at that 300-yard and closer range. So, Windham makes this. So if you're retro, you like the older style looking guns, but with some modern improvements that make it a little more quality as far as shooting and some of the modern controls on it, it's a good way to go. It comes with one metal 30-round magazine that's got Windham Weaponry's logo on the bottom of it. Standard AR-15 profile, so any of the standard magazines will work. Now, originally, of course, this type of weapon was developed with a 20-round magazine. It was later that they started making 30s for it. Magpul 30-rounders work. The metal 30-rounders work. 20-rounders work. The 10-rounders will work. Anything that's a standard AR-15 pattern mag will work in this. Very, what's that word, retro, right? Looks like the older guns. But remember, this gun pioneered the AR-15s that we see today, the very common ones that we see that are made by so many people. This basic setup pioneered that. Direct gas impingement, no piston. You got a bolt and a bolt carrier inside the receiver. You've got the carry handle profile on top, the front sight tower, the flash suppressor, the basic look of it. It pioneered that. And now we see this, amazingly enough, we see this basic design morphed into all different sorts of things, various configurations, and that have greatly improved on the original design for sure. But if you like something that's a little more old school, here you go, from Windham Weaponry. Check on with us, as always, for price and availability on these things. We do have them from time to time. The retro look is a little bit hard to get occasionally. Of course, lots of things are hard to get right now. But check with us on these. And if you like the retro look, it's a really cool way to go. Okay, well, that's what we have for today. And I guess I finally want to mention, a generation of American soldiers went to war with this basic format. And we should honor those people. So think about that when you pick something like this up, what it was used for and how it was used. And the fact that we have the freedom today to continue to use these things in a safe and proper manner as responsible sportsmen and veterans across our country. All right. Well, that's all we have for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. I'm Alan for Old English Outfitters.